We saw clouds in the today. Is spring finally on its way? Stay tuned and I'll let you know.
Produced for students, by students. For Channel 11, this is CTV News.
Welcome to CTV News. It's Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dylan Thomas.
And I'm Kirsten Swanson. It felt a lot chillier today than it was earlier this week. We're now joined by our weather anchor, Kari Pills, who's going to give us a full update. Kari?
Quite the change for Colorado today. It was cloudy, cool, and even drizzly at some points here in Fort Collins. Yesterday, highs reached up to 75 degrees in parts of the state, and we saw highs reaching only the upper 30s today, proving that spring is on its way, but it's definitely just teasing us for now. As a cold front system moved in earlier this week, we saw temperatures drop and clouds move in during the early morning hours. And now we'll see a slight chance of snow here in Fort Collins until about 11 p.m. And the Denver metro area will receive up to an inch this evening. Not a huge storm, but it's definitely something different from the past few days. Now let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. Thursday, we'll see temps warm up to the upper 40s with a mostly sunny skies. Friday will be a beautiful warm day with temperatures warming up even more. Saturday will be sunny and warm to start off your spring break, but we could see lows in the 30s in the evening. Sunday will be the warmest yet with highs back in the upper 60s. Monday will be breezy and mild with those temps staying in the upper 60s. Tuesday, expect to see temperatures stay in the 60s and a little bit colder with some cloud cover. I'll be back to give you the 7-day forecast a little later, but for now, back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Kari. A fire broke out on the first floor of the southwest side of Ingersoll at around 9:40 last night. There were no injuries, and the students were evacuated from the building. A sprinkler that went off extinguished the blaze, which did about $10,000 in damage.
Saw at least like 5 or 6 fire trucks and a dozen or so cop cars, and entire Pitkin Road was blocked off. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, there's smoke fuming like from the building, like huge clouds of smoke just coming out, like blocking your vision, like in this direction.
The only two like actual, at all like feasible reasons for the fire that I heard was a hookah.
I heard that one of the tenants was in the room trying to cook something, but there was metal in the microwave.
The cause of the fire is unknown, and fire authorities are considering the incident suspicious and have begun to investigate, advising anyone who has any information to call the Colorado Arson Hotline at 877-892-7766.
The first Wednesday of March marked Pi Kappa Phi fraternity's annual R-Word Awareness Day on the plaza. The men were having students sign their pledge to stop using the R-word in a derogatory sense. This is just one of many events Pi Cap puts on in support of their philanthropy, Push America, whose mission is to raise awareness for and funds for people with disabilities. We are now joined by Scott Lee, the Pi Kappa Phi historian. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks. Good.
Now, Scott, well, on the campus today, you guys had the scaffold set up. What can you tell us the purpose of that was?
The scaffolding is basically a visual representation of our commitment to ending the use of the R word, which we demonstrate by posting a member on top for 24 straight hours.
And you know, Scott, why is it really important for you all to get this word out to students?
We think it's important because the R word hasn't always been viewed as a derogatory term, and to people with disabilities, it's almost akin to a racial slur. So in conjunction with Special Olympics and other organizations of that nature, we have decided to move away from the use of that, and we are supporting them in their campaign to do so. Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and you guys are doing a great work out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Need a ride through Old Town but don't want to impact the environment? Well, now all you have to do is just hop on. Yep, that's right. The bicycle company Hop On is coming to Old Town and giving free rides to anyone. The enclosed egg-shaped bike taxi seats 2 adults and is made of recycled polyurethane. The owner of the company, John Hughes, says that funding for the taxi service comes from sponsoring brand partners. The rides will be within a 2-mile radius of Old Town.
All right, well, coming up after the break, I'll give you an update on the Super Tuesday caucuses and primaries and who may have solidified their lead as the front runner.
We'll be right back.
Packers, Vikings,
Red State, Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
But when we live united, we create real lasting change in the education, income, and health of our country. Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Super Tuesday has become one of the most important dates on a presidential campaign's calendar. This year, the Republican candidates took on 10 states from Alaska all the way to Massachusetts, meaning that there were 419 potential delegates up for grabs. Let's take a look at the results. We start with Ron Paul. He held the lead in both Alaska and Virginia late in the evening, but ultimately couldn't grab a win. Paul remains the only candidate to have no wins. Next is the Gingrich campaign. Newt easily won his state of Georgia Tuesday. However, his slump continues as his campaign runs in the shadows of Santorum and Romney. And now to Rick Santorum. His campaign has experienced fluctuated success. Tuesday, he won North Dakota, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. He polled strong in Ohio, but fell short to our next candidate, Mitt Romney. The Romneys celebrated their Super Tuesday victories in Massachusetts, the home of Romney, where he won in a landslide. Romney also celebrated wins in Virginia, Vermont, Ohio, Alaska, and Idaho. Here's a little fact that most people don't know on the importance of winning Ohio. Since the first Ohio primary, every Republican who won the White House had also won in Ohio. With that under his belt, Romney has revamped his campaign and has taken the front-runner position.
Thank you, Dylan. Well, you've seen it on Facebook, Twitter, and all the blogs, people watching it on their phones and talking about it. So who is he? I'm talking about Joseph Kony, and so is everyone else. Joseph Kony is the leader of the LRA, the rebel army that originated in Uganda, that is infamously known for kidnapping children and training them as child soldiers to participate in genocide. The organization Invisible Children has been advocating for these kids for 8 years. But in perhaps their biggest effort yet, they have made a video calling us to take action to make him famous and have him arrested by the end of 2012. To watch this incredible video, head over to www.kony2012.com.
All right, we are now joined by CTV's technology guru, Jeff Colbank. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dylan.
We hear that Apple had a big announcement today. What can you tell us about it?
Well, Apple has 2 events every year. The one in the spring is dedicated to the iPad, and so they did release a new iPad today, but it wasn't that exciting. It doesn't look much different than the iPad that you have here now, which is the iPad 2. The only thing that they really upgraded was the camera on the back, which can now shoot 1080p video, which is pretty cool. The screen on there is a Retina screen, so it's super high def. It actually has more pixels per inch than your regular HD TV. Oh, wow. But really, other than that, a small upgrade to the processor, so much that you wouldn't even notice. And then the battery life went from 9 hours on this battery to 10 hours.
If only you didn't have enough time with 9 hours. Now you got the whole.
Exactly. I don't know who can look at an iPad for 10 hours and come out of it and still their eyes aren't bleeding.
Yeah. And now we hear that they also said some other updates on what they might be putting out recently, well, in the near future. What can you tell us about that?
Well, they also came out with Apple TV, but again, small upgrades. They weren't really trying to wow people like they're usually used to. And all it can do for Apple TV is everything's through the iCloud now, so you can access it from anywhere you go.
Definitely utilize that.
Yeah, just from your from the little Apple TV box. But it just does 1080p full HD video, and then that's $99, and that price hasn't changed. And actually, the new iPad is $499 for the 16 gigabyte with Wi-Fi, but you can pay up to $829 for these new ones because now they're connected to 4G, which if you can find 4G, then that's a miracle. I know some people with Verizon
Especially
phones.
here in Fort Collins.
Exactly. I know people who have Verizon phones and they can't even get 4G up here. So
in that boat.
Yeah, I mean, $829 for a small upgrade isn't really worth it to me.
All right, Jeff, well, thank you for joining us today, and thanks for giving us all those updates. And we look forward to hearing the Apple's next update, which will be in the
fall. Look for updates for the new iPhone.
All right, awesome.
In 1980, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics began recognizing March in a nutritious way.
A vending machine snack here, lunch in a sack there. College students choose convenience when it comes to their food. But convenience can also be a healthy option. March is National Nutrition Month, and I sat down with Courtney Smith to discuss the MyPlate concept.
So the MyPlate concept was designed by the 2010 Dietary Guidelines. It was created so the consumer could have a visual aid in order to know what should go on their plate as opposed to the My Pyramid.
The MyPlate concept consists of portions of fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and a glass in the upper right-hand corner representing dairy. But with so many fast food options on campus, how easy is it for students to incorporate MyPlate into their diet?
You can choose fruits and vegetables in the dining halls or in the Laurie Student Center, for example. Or you could choose whole grain. Whole grain is always a good option. They have whole grain bagels, whole grain tortillas.
Is MyPlate a better concept to follow than MyPyramid?
I think in a way it's better for consumers because it's a better way for them to actually see what needs to go on their plate. But at the same time, it's difficult to know what needs to go in each section.
Join me after spring break for a new series that gives you information on being healthy and living the active college lifestyle.
It's a very interesting story, Kirsten. All right, well, coming up after the break, we'll have another update from weather anchor Kari Pills.
Plus sports with Scott Houston, so don't go away.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool. Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Welcome back to CTV. I'm Kari Pills with your 7-day forecast. Thursday it will warm up a little bit, but we'll see lows in the 20s. Friday will be mostly sunny with warm temperatures in the 50s. Saturday, expect to see sunny skies with highs reaching 60 degrees. Sunday, we'll see a lot of sunshine and highs in the 60s. And Monday and Tuesday, we'll see some cloud cover, but those highs will stay in the upper to mid 60s. A beautiful start to spring break. Now let's take it over to Scott Houston with your sports update.
All right, thank you very much, Kari. The regular season is now over for the Rams, so it is now on to the Mountain West Tournament. CSU enters the tournament as a 4 seed, so they will be playing the 5 seed from the Mountain West, TCU. We split the regular season series with the Horned Frogs in 2 very close games. First one was here at CSU, which was put into double overtime. We did end up winning that game, as we did every game here at CSU, 95-89. But later in the year, when the Rams went down to their fort, Fort Worth, Texas, they did not fare as well, losing 75-71. TCU played a lot like the Rams this year, winning almost all games at home, but struggling on the road. The Horned Frogs also run a 4-guard system, just like the Rams. So when it all comes down to it, these teams match up pretty evenly. If the Rams can get this win, though, it'll make their resume for the NCAA tournament almost a solid lock. Coach Tim Miles also made news today. He was announced as the District 8 Coach of the Year. The award goes to the best basketball coach in Colorado, Idaho, Montana, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming combined. Coach Miles seemed very pleased with the award, saying, "Anytime that there is an award like this, the head coach always feels humbled. It wouldn't be possible without a great team and a great coaching staff. There are so many people that work hard for our program to make it successful." Always a humble guy, just a great individual. But also a special congratulations to Wes Eichmeyer for making first team All-Mountain West honors. Only the 3rd CSU player in our program's history to get the award. Jason Smith and Andy Ogade last year were the only other players to be first team.
Thank you, Scott. If you started your day with cereal, you were connecting with a little bit of history. Today is National Cereal Day. 150 years ago, John Harvey Kellogg and his brother invented cereal, but it was actually an accident. They were experimenting with food and they made it when they accidentally left it out overnight, and as they say, the rest is history. And you know, you guys, about 294 million Americans start their day with cereal, but for you out home, we're going to be ending ours with it.
So we all have our own favorite types of cereal right now, and we're going to celebrate this day by taking a few bites of it. So
always delicious.
It's a good way to celebrate it.
Always good.
Good way to end the day.
Good Fruit Loops.
Always fantastic.
Good way to end the day, right?
You can't complain when your producer tells you have to eat on TV.
You know,
right?
Nope, you can't.
All right. All right, well, thank you. That's all the time we have for you tonight. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and online at ctv11.com.
Have a good night and have a great spring break.